The U20 women to the line now. They will be the next race. They will be racing 8 kilometers, 4 loops of the 2K course here at the Fanshawe Golf Course. And the defending champion, Athena Andrusek, in the mix here in 2025. Final instructions there from the starter, and Andrusek, one of the athletes to watch in this U20 women's race. She won this title a year ago as a 16-year-old. She ran up 2 age groups, so another year of experience for the youngster here. Zoe Mosher, Riley Innes, Eleanor Voikin, and Adriana Butelaar. Also names to watch as we are underway in the U20 women's race here at the 2025 ACXCs. This is one of the smaller fields we've seen so far. Just 68 athletes scheduled to run this race.
But 68 very competitive athletes, Adam. It is going to be an exciting race here in the first of our age categories that are eligible for that World Cross Country Championships berth. That is taking place in Tallahassee, Florida in March. It has been a number of years since we have had a World Cross Country Championships in North America. And so what we're going to see here is a number of athletes, to your point, running up a couple of age groups to make their to try to make their chance at that World Cross Country Championship, also to support their team title. Eleanor Voikin, an athlete that you mentioned here, she was 7th last year in the U18 category. She's a very strong athlete on the track as well, 3rd at the Canadian U20 3,000 and 5,000 meter races. Zoe Mosher, another athlete that you mentioned, 2024 2nd at the U18 race. She is the top returner from that age category. But you know, we are tasked with naming our top 5 potential runners. It was a really difficult job here because this is such a deep field. Riley Innes, 3rd last year in the U18 category at the Canadian Cross Country Championships. She was the silver medalist at the Canadian U20 3000 on the track. So we got lots of track runners moving up in distance here. A number of very strong cross-country and steeplechase competitors testing themselves over this 8-kilometer course. And, you know, Adam, that's a long distance, 8 kilometers. Some of these athletes moving up for the first time. We talked about 4 to 6 with the U16 to the U18. That's a jump. It is a much bigger jump from U18 to U20, going from 6 kilometers to 8K. That is a significant increase in the strength required, but it is Andrusek up front, and again, she already has a national title, having moved up 2 age groups last year, looking to defend it as a youngster. She would technically be a first-year U18 runner this year.
She's got the gold number thanks to that victory a year ago on this course. But it is a very busy lead pack with several athletes up near the front.
You know, Adam, this is a race setup that I would have really hated as an athlete, I've got to say. Having to do multiple loops just was not something that I liked. I like, you know, having to go through forest, having to do a long, 4K maybe twice. However, again, there are many strong 800, 1500 meter competitors here who are going to really enjoy the fact that they get several circuits of this course. They get to experience it multiple times over, not just in terms of the footing, the uphills, the downhills, but how their competitors are feeling around them. That's going to factor, I think, hugely, especially towards the back half of this race. You test how you hear your competitor breathing beside you. You test how their foot speed is. That's a lot of information to take in, but some of the strongest athletes, as we see them navigating these hay bales, will pay attention to those details because they've gone through that U16, that U18, now into the U20 experience. They're looking to, again, potentially a world championship berth. That's the kind of information you need to be able to take in, process, and then utilize to the best of your ability when you come into these older age groups.
And that appears to be Eleanor Voikin now who has taken the lead here. Voikin was 7th in the U18 race a year ago, but she was the OFSA cross-country champion earlier this year. That race was over 6K.
Voikin is a very familiar name for those who have watched the RunnerSpace coverage of OFSA, of Canadian cross-country and track and field championships. Eleanor Voikin has just been such a standout. She's so consistent. She turns up time and time again to perform at her very best. She's got great pedigree from the 800 right through the 3,000. She's also done a lot of steeplechasing, and we know that steeplechasers translate really well to the cross-country course, particularly on a course like this where it's relatively flat. Again, it's on a golf course. This is relatively American running, I will say, when it comes to cross-country. However, we throw in some hay bales just to keep things interesting, and the steeplechasers will navigate that extraordinarily well.
I believe now that's Ava Dick who has moved herself into the lead. But again, this is still a lead pack with a ton of athletes in it. You've still got the defending champion, Andrusek, in the mix. She's off to the left side of the screen. She's got the gold number there. Also in the mix there is Butalar. She's in the blue top and the black pants. But it is Dick leading the way as they come to the hill.
There's the
But now
doubles.
it's Voikin who's moved herself back into the front. So we're going to see a lot of movement, I would suspect, over these next few kilometers, Kate.
Oh, you got it, Adam. Absolutely. We saw that with the boys race, but in the U18 category, I should say. But here in this U20 race, absolutely. The longer the distance, the more you're going to see shifting in position up front. And it gets really exciting. You know, I think that there's those who are tuning in who are big fans of the sport know that the longer the race, the more kind of cat and mouse happens up front. So Voikin continuing to hold the shared lead, but there are probably, 6 or 7 strong up there. Andrusek still in the mix. Again, showing all kinds of maturity despite her young age is Andrusek, running 2 age groups up. There's a couple other strong athletes in contention. We should mention Abigail Silvera. She was 9th last year, I should say, in the U18 championship. We mentioned Zoe Mosher as well, 2nd last year at the U18. She's the top returner. Kate Nagy out of the Newmarket Huskies. And keep an eye on them because the Huskies always in strong contention for the team title. They are looking to come back and take the victory here. It was Laval last year who claimed top marks on the team side, but the Newmarket Huskies have Kate Nagy, Bridget Montcalm, Grace Montcalm. All 3 were part of the U16 team championship title last year. All 3 of them running up 2 age groups, Adam, into the U20.
And through the opening lap, that is 2 kilometers, there were 7 athletes within 1.2 seconds of each other. It was Voikin leading the way. Then you had Dick, Andrusek, Butalar, Kaylee Torrey from the Cochrane Endurance Project, Maria Linton for the Durham Dragons, and then Zoe Mosher from Athletics East, Nova Scotia.
As I mentioned in the earlier races, this is what you would expect to see over a 4-lap course. Athletes biding their time, feeling each other out, enjoying the shared momentum of a pack up front. Again, conditions really strong here. This would be a totally different story if it were blustery and snowing, as we saw last year on day 2. But right now it is a pack of 4 that have kind of broken away, and it looks as though 5 and 6 are just working really hard to try to hold on. I believe that is Voikin, Dick, Andrzejczyk. And just trying to get a read on who that fourth athlete is, but now they're packing back up. So again, Adam, you talked about it. We're going to see a lot of movement. You see that cat and mouse, that stringing out, that pulling back together. The strong speed endurance athletes are going to work hard up the hill. Voikin, though, looking very composed at the lead of this pack at the moment.
Ava Dick now trying to make a move on Voikin, and Voikin will counter that.
Adam, you mentioned Maria Linton as part of that chase pack. The Durham Dragon athlete was the 5,000 meter U20 champion last year, also the OFSA 3,000 meter outdoor champion. She runs for the Western Mustangs as part of that U Sport contingent. She was 10th at the U Sport Cross Country Championships. And again, this is where we're starting to see, you know, if you're a first year U20, you might not have as much experience. If you're a second year U20, you've been through either a U Sport or an NCAA program. You know a little bit more about racing with some of those more mature competitors. And I think that Voikin, well, running really beyond her years here. She's still in high school, coming off of that OFSA victory, as you mentioned, Adam, but contesting against some athletes who have, you know, competitive university experience that counts for so much. So this is brave running by Voikin up front.
And the defending champion, Andrzejczyk's got some work to do now as the lead pack has dropped her. It is now a group of 6 up front, and it continues to be led by Eleanor Voikin. And there you see the defending champ in your screen now.
You saw Ava Dick there clearing those hay bales as if they were just little stepping stones on her path. She's a tall athlete, she's strong, and she is looking really comfortable right now. You see a number of our trailing sort of second pack competitors coming through over those hay bales. And this can be the, you know, we talked about the number of circuits that you have to do. This can be a bit of a breaking point for some athletes, particularly as they move into the later stages of the race. If you're tall, if you're athletic, if you're a steeplechaser, if you're a distance runner, you're likely to navigate these hay bales, especially on that third and fourth loop, a little bit better than perhaps the rest of the pack. They don't look like much, but when you throw that barrier into fatigued legs that are already accumulating lactic acid, it can really be literally a stumbling point.
How can it affect an athlete mentally as well? Just you're so deep into a race and then you just see those bales coming up. Is it hard to keep your focus?
It's a great question, and as we see Voikin continuing to lead her up this hill, I think that's in some ways steep, sharp hills, as we're about to see here, are really similar to those hay bale navigating moments. You know, it's almost you can get in kind of a trance in cross country if it's really flat and a consistent terrain. Sometimes having something to interrupt that can just change your mindset a little bit. It can shift you back into, I need to pay attention, I need to get my feet back under me, I need to make sure that I am staying on my feet, especially with spikes over those hay bales and getting up these hills, as you see Andrzejczyk trying to hold on desperately to the back of that pack, but she has fallen off, and our leaders continuing to do a really good job up front of navigating the hills, the hay bales, and this 8-kilometer course.
Well, Voikin continuing to lead, and the look on her face, almost a zen state. She looks very relaxed, very in control as she looks for the U20 women's title here at the 2025 Canadian Cross Country Championships, but still lots of racing to go as the athletes now are getting near the halfway mark.
And Adam, as we approach this 4K mark, I think that's such an important point. That little, and I call it little, it's short, but it's incredibly steep. That hill is where the breaking point has come for many athletes already in these championships. We saw that last year, we're seeing it this year. So I would encourage our viewers to pay attention to the body language as these athletes approach that hill and try to drive through the top of it on these 2 remaining loops, because that has time and again been the point where a runner either breaks away or is not able to hold on.
And at the halfway point, it is Voikin with the lead. She comes through 4 kilometers in 13:57.3. Butalar about 1.2 seconds behind her. Ava Dick third through the halfway point, and Kaylee Torrey continues to be in the mix. She was 4th. Torrey, again, a member of the Cochrane Endurance Project, and then rounding out the top 5 at the halfway point was Zoe Mosher.
So Eleanor Voikin, again, running beyond her years here, very boldly up front. We saw her take that OFSA victory. She runs for Birchmount Park, and that yellow, blue, and white is going to serve her well as she moves into the Northern Arizona University contingent next year. Exactly the same colors up in Flagstaff, Arizona. I've had the privilege of spending a lot of time with those athletes, and man, that altitude serves those runners really, really well. So glad to see that Voikin is going to be part of the NCAA program that has topped the podium many times, but she is in close company here, Adam.
That's Butalar trying to stick with the leader, Voikin. Now Ava Dick running in 3rd, and I believe running in 4th right now, that's Kate Torrey. Torrey had a very good ASAA championships. That's the Alberta High Schools. She picked up the win in the 3,000 meters and picked up the silver medal in the 1,500 meters.
Well, again, if you're a strength-based athlete, you don't want to leave things to the last lap when you know that you have some speedsters behind you. If you're an 800, 1,500 specialist, you are just chomping at the bit to get that turnover going. But it continues, as you said, Adam, to be Voikin, and now she's extending her gap a little bit. Hard to see on this front-on view, but Butalar holding on well. Again, she was 4th last year. She is looking to get herself onto the podium. She's got 3,000 meter strength. She was the winner of the U20 Canadian Championships in that event earlier this summer, as you mentioned. And now she is closing the gap on Voikin. I applaud Voikin for this bold move, but again, this is pretty early days. We still have over a lap to go, so lots can happen over this final lap and a half, I should say.
And Butalar is not going anywhere. She continues to hang on to Voikin.
Yeah.
It's Dick still in 3rd, Torrey in 4th.
One more? Yeah. I'm not.
Dick trying to make some inroads
Think so.
into the lead 2.
2 more? 2 more.
Again, this is where you see that
One
taller
more up.
figure of Butalar just navigating those hay bales a little bit more elegantly than is Voikin. Voikin still doing a really good job of keeping the turnover strong. Little shoulder check there. That's where you want to take a look. If you have a 90-degree turn, utilize that to your advantage to just get a sense of where the competition is. And our Blue Devils leader is in very close company with the BC champion in the 3,000 meter from earlier this year. Adriana Butalar really strong on the track in that 1,500 and 3,000 meters. She was also 13th, I should say, at the Vancouver Sun Run. That's a 10-kilometer race, highly competitive. She ran 36:17 there, so she's got that strength. Having competed at a high level in the 10K on the roads equips you extraordinarily to navigate an 8K cross-country course.
Well, it continues to be neck and neck between Voikin and Butelar. Dick continues to hold down third place. Next split will be the 6-kilometer split. That'll be 3/4 of this race down for these athletes. Quite the poker face, though, from Voikin. Doesn't really show anything, but now Butelar pulling ahead as they come to the hill.
Well, you mentioned Voikin's poker face. Again, this is the hill that tests the athletes. This is where things can make or break. Voikin is a very strong hill runner. So too is Butelar, and you see her pulling ahead just a little bit. She looked a bit stronger. Her head was up. Her eyes were forward through the top of that hill. And, you know, my coaches always used to say, hill running is all about running through the top. It's not actually about the ascent. It's about how quickly you can get your turnover going through the top of the hill that can make the difference. And I think that Butelar really capitalized on that and has moved herself into the lead position now. And that gap on Voikin has extended by, I don't know, 10 or 15 meters just in the last 10 seconds.
And there is a move for third place. Kaylee Torrey now into third. Ava Dick running in fourth. But Butelar right now putting in a nice little charge, and will Voikin or anyone else challenge her as they're about to come up to the 6-kilometer split, and that will mean one lap left to go. And Butelar is through 6 kilometers in 20:58.4. She went through that last lap in just under 7 minutes. And at 6K, she has a lead of just over 3 seconds on Voikin. Torrey through 6K in third, Dick in fourth, and then Zoe Mosher in fifth. And then it's about 12 seconds back to Maria Linton, who is running in sixth.
This is a great run courtesy of Torrey in third right now. She's had a really good year coming off of a win in the 3,000 meter at the Alberta School Athletics Association Championships. She also claimed a silver in the 1,500, so she's got some speed under her. She was the bronze medalist in the mile at the USA U20 Championships. 4:48 for a mile. I got to tell you, that is awfully speedy. So the Alberta contingent here, sitting in third place right now, has got some wheels. Our leaders would do well to keep putting the pedal to the metal, because you don't want to leave it to a kicker's race. Butelar, Voikin, that is the battle up front, but Torrey, a strong competitor in third.
Leaders on one of the more forgiving portions of this course right now, and now they go into a little bit of a hill. They're going to hit those hay bales again soon. And Voikin now just try to hang on, as here comes Kaylee Torrey. But it continues to be Adriana Butelar from the Valley Royals out in BC in the lead. Voikin holding down second, but Kaylee Torrey is right there.
Fabulous piece of running here into the later stages by Butelar. Again, she is moving up an age group. She was in the U18 category last year. She finished fourth, achingly close to the podium, I should say. But now she is demonstrating extraordinary prowess at the front of this U20 race. And again, Adam, we should reiterate what's on the line here. World Cross Country Championships. The first time it's been held in North America in over a decade. This is an extraordinary opportunity for these youngsters to get themselves onto a national team and vie for some international experience. And Butelar as a first-year U20 athlete, is positioning herself incredibly well to put herself in a Canadian kit in March in Tallahassee.
Budelar maintaining her form nicely at the front. The battle continues for second right now. It's Voikin, followed by Tori. Ava Dick running in fourth still. And soon these leaders are going to come up to the, well, we'll call it the mini hill before their final go at the big hill.
It's nice to take bite-sized chunks off of something that feels a little more difficult to swallow. But
well,
look
here
at
they
this
are
lead
at those
here.
hay bales. Let's see how they maintain over these for the final time.
Well, Budelar is looking really, really strong. Again, she's long-legged. She's a tall athlete. She's athletic. You see her starting to fatigue a little bit. That's exactly what we would expect. Again, this is where in the race, a good shoulder check, she has to remind herself, if I'm hurting, so is everyone else. I just have to keep my turnover strong. I talked about how the mud was going to become a factor. Look at that course. It is being chewed up by those spikes. But again, a strong, tall athlete is going to utilize that opportunity very well. Budelar is doing exactly that, and she is looking to not only put herself on the podium after that fourth place finish last year, but potentially top it. She's got one last hill to navigate, Adam, but this is an extraordinary run from Budelar at the lead.
Also looking to get herself onto that Canadian team for the upcoming World Cross Country Championships. It's a bit of a flight from BC to get to Florida, but still, it is a championship on the continent.
And so exciting that, Adam. You know, I raced the NACAC Championships in Florida, again, NACAC Juniors, more years ago than I care to mention, but it really did matter having a North American opportunity to compete on the international stage, wearing a Canadian kit, showing up with my Canadian teammates. Right now, all of these athletes, you know, we've talked about titles in terms of the club championships, but for the most part, our front runners are racing against one another. When they eventually get to Tallahassee, they're going to all be donning the Canadian kit together. That is a camaraderie that stays with you for life. And what an opportunity these runners are putting themselves in front of to head to Tallahassee for those World XC champs in March.
Budelar to the hill for the final time. And it is Tori who has edged herself into second place ahead of Voikin. But Budelar strong up that hill for the final time, and well, it would take something special right now from either Voikin or Tori to run down the leader.
I love that those two are working together, though. Voikin and Tori really pressing hard in second and third. Again, you have to be top 10 overall to be in contention. They will take 6 athletes to the World Cross Country Championships in the U20 and senior or open races. And the fact that these athletes are working hard together, they are likely to be teammates on the international stage in a few months' time. This is a really good sign of things to come as Budelar continues to extend her lead, and Tori now into second in a decisive way. I believe Voikin's still in third, but we'll have to wait on confirmation of that, Adam. We're into the final few hundred meters of this race.
Adriana Budelar, she was fourth in the U18 race last year in London. But in 2025, she is going to be on top of the podium in the U20 race. Adriana Budelar is the Canadian champion for the U20 women. And here comes Kaylee Tori, an excellent final lap for her. And she is going to take the silver. And Eleanor Voikin is going to hold on. And she will claim the bronze as she comes across for third. Here comes Ava Dick. And Dick is going to pick up fourth place. And rounding out the top 5, this is Zoe Mosher. And the Athletics East Nova Scotia athlete is across.
Fabulous set of running here by all of these top athletes. And I must say, Kaylee Torrey, what an improvement. The Cochrane Endurance athlete last year placed 34th in the U18 6K race, and she is the silver medalist this year in the U20 category. Incredible set of running there as we see Andrasick crossing the line, again running up 2 age categories. She was last year's victor. Riley Innes crossing the line as well for the Newmarket Huskies, giving all of herself to the line. Being assisted again by our medics, our volunteers. Thank you to all of those on site who are keeping this event safe. Great set of running there by Riley Innes.
Team title still up for grabs here. Huskies, again, a threat here in the U20 women's race. They've got 2 athletes across the line, now make it 3. Their top finisher, Riley Innes, who came across in 9th. And that looked like a Newmarket Husky who just came across as well. That was Abigail Silvera. So that's going to be 4 athletes across the line for Newmarket. And right now they're sitting with a score of 61. Thanks to Innes' 9th place, Kate Nagy's 14th place, Anastasia Korova's 18th place, and a 20th place finish from Abigail Silvera.
Great running there by Silvera. She was 9th last year in the U18 category, but she is running up to U20 this year, and we knew that she was going to be a critical player. You know, I have to give big kudos as we see even more Newmarket Huskies crossing the line in that distinctive kit. Big kudos to the 4th place finisher for a team. That is usually where the points get, you know, divided in a way that matters most. That 4th place finisher really counts so much for the team score. So congratulations again to Abigail Silvera for helping to unofficially cinch that team win for the Newmarket Huskies along with her teammates.
Vancouver Thunderbirds, the Blue Devils, also have 3 athletes across the line, as does the CAUL team. Adriana Butelar taking the win individually, 28-14-6 for her. Athletes continuing to come across the line. And the Blue Devils now have 4 across. And they are sitting at 110 points right now. Eleanor Voikin leading the way for them with her 3rd place finish. They also had the 29th place finisher in Michaela Ryan. The 34th place finisher in Kensington McCormack, and the 45th place finisher in Leela Jordan.
Well, Butelar, such a diverse athlete, really using all of her experience and strength to her advantage. She's got fantastic times from the 300 meters all the way up to the 3,000 meters. So, a real speed endurance athlete, and that's what you want to see. You'd expect to see that in the U18 6K category, but to be able to bring that speed strength into the 8K in this U20 women's race, such a phenomenal performance for her, and what a win, 28-14. And that is 7 seconds ahead of Tori, as you see the times continuing to populate. So too the team scores. Not unexpected that the Newmarket Huskies would absolutely obliterate the field, and I'm very comfortable saying that with 61 points. They are so deep, have fantastic coaches, and really take advantage of every team opportunity that they have. But what a run by the Huskies contingent.
And it is the St. John Reds who now are getting the nod in third place in the team competition with a score of 122. Leading the way for the Reds, Nikolina Kapovic, who finished in 12th place. Michaela Burke, 52nd place. Excuse me, I should say Bridget Jeffrey leading the way for them. 11th place finish for her. Kapovic, 12th. And then Bryn Bowman in 49th, and then Burke in 52nd, although still having those final places tabulate a bit. Of course, so many athletes come across the line at once. Sometimes need to go back and make sure everyone is in the right order. But as you said, Kate, looks like it's a pretty safe bet to say the Newmarket Huskies have taken the team title with a score right now of 61, but no other team close to that score. Second best right now, the 110 from the Blue Devils.
Well, it was theirs to lose, the Newmarket Huskies, in terms of the team title this year, with a number of their athletes moving up in age group. They could have been in that U18 race, but they chose to run U20, greatly in service of that team title. So well done for them. They are rewarded with a championship victory.
And speaking of champions, Butelar picks up the gold, and that's going to be the second Canadian title for her this year. She was the Canadian U20 3,000 meter champion in Ottawa this summer.
One part broke. Hold it on.
So is it unable to hold it now?
They have a replacement piece apparently. They just are trying time.
Oh, jeez.
Last I heard, Sean was looking for the replacement plate. Excellent. But
And see, my man, did they do any interviews for you?
Adriana Butelar takes the win in the